ESPN kept asking the same question for years: who's the next Tiger Woods? They crowned young prodigies, hyped up teenagers, and built up stars before they'd even won a tournament. Some thrived under the pressure, most collapsed. Today, we're digging into every golfer ESPN once called the next Tiger and revealing what really happened to them. First, Sergio Garcia. If anyone in the late 1990s looked like they might carry the torch, it was Sergio Garcia. He was fearless, fiery, and only 19 when he nearly stole the 1999 PGA Championship from Tiger himself. Tiger pumping his fist after sinking clutch putts, Sergio sprinting up the fairway after his own shots like a kid chasing a dream. It felt like the rivalry of the future. ESPN leaned hard into the idea. Garcia was young, talented, and confident. He played fast, swung aggressively, and had enough flair to draw casual fans in. But the problem with being compared to Tiger Woods is that you need more than just a spark. You need majors, and lots of them. Sergio struggled to deliver. For years, he was called the best player without a major. He had close calls at the Masters, heartbreaks at the Open, and plenty of Ryder Cup highlights, but nothing that put him in Tiger's league. It took until 2017 for Garcia to finally win a major at the Masters. By then, the next Tiger label was long gone, replaced with respect for his resilience. He became a great European champion, not the second coming of Tiger Woods. Second, Ty Tryon. The early 2000s brought Ty Tryon, a teenager who turned pro at just 17 years old. ESPN loved the story, a high schooler skipping prom nights to play on the PGA Tour. He signed a big endorsement deal with Callaway and instantly had cameras following him around. To a network always hunting for the next Tiger, he was gold. The reality was harsh. Golf is unforgiving, especially at the highest level. Tryon made one cut as a rookie, then quickly lost his tour card. Injuries, swing issues, and the mental grind took their toll. By his 20s, he was bouncing around mini-tours and trying to claw his way back. ESPN could hype a player all they wanted, but talent alone wasn't enough to survive the pressure of pro golf. Tiger Woods wasn't just talented, he was unshakable. That was the difference. Third, Charles Howell III. Charles Howell III was another name ESPN put in the conversation. Coming out of Oklahoma State, he had a silky swing and a calm personality. He won early on the PGA Tour and seemed destined for greatness. The next Tiger comparisons came less from fiery moments and more from his polished game and steady rise. But Howell's career went down a different path. He became one of the most consistent money earners on tour, racking up top 10 finishes year after year. He didn't disappear, but he never turned into a dominant force either. For fans, he was reliable, not revolutionary. He built a long career, made millions, and stayed relevant. But when ESPN threw his name into the next Tiger conversation, they probably oversold it. He was a strong pro, not a game changer. Fourth, Ryo Ishikawa. The hype machine didn't stop in America. In Japan, a teenager named Ryo Ishikawa was creating headlines that ESPN couldn't resist. He won a professional tournament at just 15 years old, instantly becoming a national icon. His looks, his smooth swing, and his fearless play earned him the nickname, the Bashful Prince. By the time he arrived on the PGA Tour, international media were pushing the idea that he might challenge Tiger. For a few years, Ishikawa seemed ready for it. He cracked the top 50 in the world rankings and brought excitement to every tournament he entered. But golf at that level is relentless. Ishikawa struggled with the travel demands, the pressure, and the grind of trying to win against the world's best every single week. While he never became the global star ESPN teased him to be, Ishikawa remained a respected figure in Japanese golf. He collected wins on the Japan Golf Tour and stayed in the spotlight at home, even if the Tiger comparisons faded quickly. Fifth, Anthony Kim. No name from this era carried more electricity than Anthony Kim. He was brash, stylish, and fun to watch. ESPN had a field day with him. He didn't just play golf, he brought swagger to it. In his 20s, Kim won multiple PGA Tour events, starred in the Ryder Cup, and seemed to embrace the next Tiger chatter without fear. Fans loved him. Kim wore flashy belts, hit daring shots, and brought an attitude golf desperately needed at the time. In 2008, he helped the US crush Europe in the Ryder Cup, and people thought the Tiger era might have a worthy rival. Then, just as fast as he rose, he was gone. Injuries derailed his career, and by his late 20s, Kim had vanished from the tour. Rumors about a massive insurance policy surfaced, explaining why he never attempted a comeback. To this day, his name sparks curiosity. He had the talent, the charisma, and maybe the chance to truly challenge Tiger. But fate took it away. If you're liking this so far, hit that like and subscribe so you don't miss the rest. 6. Rory McIlroy. Of all the next Tiger labels ESPN threw around, Rory McIlroy was the one who actually lived up to most of it. From the moment he stepped onto the scene, his swing was pure, his drives were fearless, and his confidence reminded fans of Tiger in his prime. By the time he won the US Open in 2011, Rory wasn't just a kid with potential, he was the real deal. He went on to win 4 majors before turning 26 and became the world's #1 player. ESPN ran with it, building storylines of Rory carrying golf into the post-Tiger era, and for a while, he did. The crowds followed him, sponsors lined up, and his highlights filled SportsCenter. The only problem? Rory never kept up Tiger's pace. Woods dominated in a way no one else could. Rory's career has been brilliant, 30-plus worldwide wins, dominance on both the PGA and European tours, and now a central figure in the PGA versus 54 golf battle. But while he has lived up to the hype in many ways, he never quite replaced Tiger as the face of the sport. 7. Michelle Wie. It wasn't only young men who got pulled into the next Tiger narrative. ESPN and other outlets put that label on Michelle Wie, who turned pro as a teenager with incredible hype. She hit drives over 300 yards, competed against men in PGA Tour events, and looked ready to change women's golf forever. She struggled with injuries, coaching changes, and the burden of being compared not just to Tiger Woods, but also to legends of the LPGA. Her career had bright spots, a US Women's Open win in 2014, global fame, and influence that inspired a new wave of players. But she didn't become the unstoppable force some thought she would be. Even so, Wie made history. She broke barriers, brought mainstream attention to women's golf, and proved that being the next Tiger didn't have to mean winning 15 majors. It could mean changing the way people look at the game. 8. Jordan Spieth. When Jordan Spieth burst onto the scene, it wasn't just about his wins. It was about the way he did it. At 21, he claimed the 2015 Masters with surgical putting and a calmness beyond his age. 2 months later, he won the US Open. Suddenly, golf fans were talking about history again. ESPN couldn't help themselves. Spieth was the next Tiger. The hype was understandable. Spieth's short game was almost magical. He wasn't the longest hitter, but when it came to making clutch putts, he was unmatched. In 2015, he nearly pulled off a modern Grand Slam, finishing second at the PGA Championship. By the end of that season, he had 3 majors and a FedEx Cup title. But golf has a way of shifting momentum overnight. Spieth's dominance cooled quickly. His putting edge slipped, his swing faltered, and he went winless for years. The label of next Tiger never fit again. What he became instead was something different. A fighter who reinvented himself, clawed back into contention, and eventually lifted another claret jug in 2017. His career is still running strong, but Tiger's shadow? That belongs to someone else. 9th, Jason Day. Jason Day looked like he was built in a lab to succeed in modern golf. He had the distance, the short game, and the ability to go low when it mattered. ESPN leaned heavily into his story because he wasn't just good, he was explosive. In 2015, he won 5 tournaments, including the PGA Championship, and climbed to world #1. For a moment, it really felt like he might be the heir. His calm demeanor paired with his power made him the closest thing to Tiger's complete package that golf had seen in years. But Day's body didn't cooperate. Back injuries, vertigo, and constant health struggles pulled him down from the heights he'd reached. He still collected 13 PGA Tour wins, a major, and millions in prize money. But the next Tiger label faded as quickly as it came. Day's career became less about chasing history and more about resilience. 10. Ricky Fowler. If being the next Tiger was about star power, Ricky Fowler looked like the perfect candidate. He had the style, the charisma, and a following that stretched far beyond traditional golf fans. ESPN and other networks pushed him into the spotlight because he was marketable and magnetic. The results, though, never matched the hype. Fowler was in the mix at majors but could never close one out. He picked up a few PGA Tour wins and collected endorsement deals that kept him visible, but he never broke into that Tiger-like dominance. His legacy has been more about being a fan favorite and role model than being a record-breaking champion. Still, Fowler helped golf during a transitional era. He brought new fans into the sport, something ESPN valued just as much as wins. He wasn't the next Tiger, but he kept golf cool when it needed it. 11. Brooks Koepka. If Tiger Woods was a predator on the golf course, Brooks Koepka carried a similar vibe. Cold, clinical, and almost detached, he rose with a major-first mentality. ESPN jumped on board after Koepka ripped off 4 majors in 3 years between 2017 and 2019. He wasn't chasing regular season trophies. He was showing up on golf's biggest stages and slamming the door on the field. For a time, he looked like the closest thing to Tiger's killer instinct. Koepka's run at the majors made him feel untouchable. But the comparisons broke down for a simple reason. Tiger dominated everywhere, every week. Koepka, on the other hand, has built a career around peaks rather than consistency. He's been open about caring more for majors than weekly tournaments, and while that attitude works for him, it kept him from being the all-encompassing force ESPN once teased. Even now, with multiple LIV golf titles and a return to major winning form in 2023, Koepka is respected as a closer, not the sport's savior. 12th. Justin Thomas. Justin Thomas grew up in Tiger's orbit. His father was a PGA professional, he had the polish of a country club kid, and his game was refined from an early age. ESPN and golf media painted him as the polished, ready-made superstar. And to be fair, he delivered plenty. Thomas won the PGA Championship twice, collected a FedEx Cup, and climbed to #1 in the world. His consistency in the mid-2000s made him one of the anchors of American golf. Still, Thomas never carried the fear factor that Tiger had. Opponents respected him, but no one felt helpless against him. The next Tiger storyline felt stretched here, more about filling headlines than reflecting reality. Thomas will be remembered as a great champion, but he was never going to redefine the sport. 13th. Collin Morikawa. When Collin Morikawa won the PGA Championship in 2020, it was his first major and only his second year as a pro. His ball striking was perfect, his demeanor cool, and his rise immediate. ESPN wasted no time drawing the line to Tiger. Morikawa's game was different, though. He didn't overpower courses, he dissected them. His iron play was clinical, some of the best of his generation. A year later, he captured the Open Championship, further fueling the hype. But while his talent is unquestioned, his ceiling looks different. Morikawa's brilliance shines in flashes, but Tiger's dominance was relentless. The next Tiger idea always demands someone who can crush fields week after week, not just win with precision a few times a year. Morikawa remains one of golf's brightest stars, but the comparisons have cooled. Golf has no shortage of stars today. Rory chasing majors, Spieth reinventing himself, Koepka dominating when it matters, Morikawa and Hovland carving their own paths. But no matter how good they are, Tiger's shadow still towers over the game. Maybe that's the real lesson. For all the hype about the next Tiger, there may never be another. So tell me, who do you think came closest, and who completely missed the mark? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'll be jumping in to read them. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because we've got more golf stories coming, from scandals the sport tried to bury to the moments that changed golf forever.